well, you spoke about the women's division, and it seems like the UFC is well on their way to creating a 145-pound weight class, rather. And it seems like the Cyborg division, if you will. And then we're hearing rumblings that she even might struggle to make 145. Is this a welcome addition for the women to get a 145 weight class?
Well, here's what I would say. If someone asked me, what's a better division to create that you could make big right away or full right away? I would say 125 before I would say 145. 145 doesn't have quite the amount of talent there right now. That doesn't mean it couldn't develop and blossom into something great. Just as we speak, it's just not altogether clear. There's a lot of people to fill that out. And maybe Cyborg will, not quite take it into the stratosphere we want it to take. But here's what I would say. She said she would take a 145-pound fight, that she does intend to fight in 2017, but she can't do it on less than 12 weeks allowance because she has ravaged her body just to make 140 pounds. I'll just say this. Look, I know everybody wanted to see Ronda Rousey versus Cyborg Santos, but we policed her body in a way we don't ever police anyone's body. We're like, well, if Anthony Pettis wants to go down to 145, that's fine. We don't ever be like, he needs to go down there and make this happen. There was a real pressure on her to make that happen. And here's the truth of the matter. It was never going to happen. And what's worse is just the push to get her to go to 140. I mean, you start messing with your body's chemistry. It's insane. I spoke to Cris, Ultimate Fighter great. Yeah. And he told me he's on thyroid medication the rest of his life because of the damage he caused as a consequence of weight cutting. And so you just look at what's happened to Cyborg Justino, and again, she will fight. I am very confident in saying that. But the truth of the matter is we not only wasted time trying to push her to 135 when we shouldn't have, just pushing her to 140 means she now can't take 145 fights on a normal timeline. 8 to 10 weeks is plenty of notice for a professional fighter. If she's saying 12, she's done some damage, and she's well aware of it.
It's not a good story. And again, this is probably a bigger story with more time that we'll have to a lot to it in the short. Do you think she will then fight Holly Holm? We'd heard rumblings that maybe she'd turn down that fight, but that seems like one that would be made at 145 because Holly's boxed at that weight previously. Does that seem like a logical matchup?
Logical matchup? Absolutely. Whether they're going to make it, I don't know. She seemed a little reluctant according to what I've been hearing, that as soon as it got below 140, her interest, Holly Holm, went up. As they got above 140, her interest went down. That's not to say they couldn't make it. It just means there's some roadblocks. But I will tell you that I know it's not a household name. I recognize that, but you just have to believe me when I say this. She has the same nickname as Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady. Germaine Durand-Demi, who is a UFC fighter. We are talking about one of the most accomplished kickboxers ever, men or women. She accepted the fight. The only reason why it didn't happen at 145 pounds was because Cyborg couldn't make it on that timeline. But I'm telling you right now, at 145 pounds, Durand-Demi versus Cyborg, absolutely Durand-Demi can win that fight.
Let me go back very quickly, Luke, in closing for tomorrow night at UFC 206 in Toronto. If Showtime Pettis wins, does he still get the fight with Aldo to unify the 145, or because he missed weight? How does that work out? We know if Holloway wins, obviously it's Holloway and Aldo.
Right. So if Holloway wins, he gets the interim title. If Pettis wins, he does not get it. And the question is, what are they going to do with him? Dana White said today he doesn't even know. Can he trust Anthony Pettis to be able to make 145 pounds to put him in a title fight against Jose Aldo? Remember, you do not get a 1 pound allowance. So my guess is they would probably try to make it because Pettis versus Aldo sounds so awesome on paper. But we'll just have to see how it goes, man. But it's definitely a tough call for the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Very dicey. We'll be watching. Of course, you can always listen to Luke Thomas on the Luke Thomas Show on Sirius XM Radio. Thanks again, Luke, for the time. We'll catch up with you again soon, my friend.
Thanks, Dave.